would like to begin. I realize I haven't shared a sentiment of metta with you in a minute, and I'd like to do that. So I'm going to invite a chime to sing. And one of the things I want you to be aware of is the word invite and the word sing. So one of the things that we do as part of our Buddhist practice here in the Spokane Sangha, and this is a Buddhist principle in general, is we try to reduce violence in all that we say and do. And sometimes it's really subtle. So I have this little mallet for my chime, and I don't ever hit the chime, and I don't ever strike the chime. I invite the chime to sing. This isn't just a matter of semantics. It's a matter of intention. And with that, we'll begin our practice today by setting an intention. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, and if it's been a minute since you've been here, I have this handmade bowl of sentiments of metta, some of which I've painted, some of which community members have painted, and I have cut up in little square designs, and I write sentiments of metta, loving kindness, on the back. For any sewers out there, any artists out there, this bowl is made by wrapping clothesline cord, cotton clothesline cord, with fabric and then sewn together. Super cool. Hours in the making. You may be wondering, Julia, did you make this one? No, I did not, but I have made some before, not nearly as pretty as this one. This is the little painting that I did, little doodle. This one reads, "May you see how you are divine mystery. May you see how you are divine mystery." Arrive fully to this practice. And I'm going to preface our meditation with a little reflection on this particular sentiment of loving kindness. Our meditation with a little reflection on this particular sentiment of loving kindness. I'm so sorry. I was hearing a voice, and it was regrettably coming from my phone. So we're going to invite that little blip to be perfect, just as it is, and smile at the silliness of that. For the month of October, friends, we are exploring as a community grounding and centering practices. And what I'm bringing forward is the reflection on the body, using this ancient clay vessel as a foundation, as an anchor for the mind, for the mood, for the practice. When we practice mindfulness in general, there are four foundations that we can often turn to. The first is the body. The second is our emotions, because when we're feeling anything, feeling happy or sad, we can also, if we're paying attention, have sensations in the body to reflect our mood. Likewise, when we have certain thoughts, thoughts can create feelings of agitation, annoyance, irritation, elation, bliss. All of those feelings and thoughts can manifest in expressions in the body. When those thoughts string together, We have the fourth foundation of mindfulness, something that I call stories, the stories we tell ourselves, the distortions we maintain, the mental perceptions, the belief systems that we almost never really think about and question. In fact, if you were raised anything like I was in a Catholic household, I was told that to question was to have limited faith. That is a story, that is a perception quite bizarre to me now. My doubts and my questioning has led to this deep sense of curiosity and confidence because I'm fearless when I'm seeking knowledge and information, answers to my wonderment. And I also feel at ease whenever I come face to face with mystery, something I do not know and cannot know. This week, we've been using the core of the body as our source of centering and grounding. And a partnering image that I've been using as a metaphor, as a companion to our own bodies, is that of the trees and our intimate connection to these living beings. May you see how you are divine mystery. Human beings on the evolutionary scale are the last to arrive to this earth school. And that's pretty humbling. The trees have been here in some form long before we ever arrived. They helped create the conditions for our survival. They cleaned up toxic gases. They changed the whole atmosphere. They, among other living things, living, breathing things. All of this happening and unfurling and evolving over millions and millions and millions of years, all of it to this moment. If that isn't divine, if that isn't sacred, and if that isn't mysterious, I don't know what is. Your presence here is connected to what's been happening since beginningless time. Your whole body is an expression of the cosmos above, and it is intimately connected to the earth as well. Everything on the earth survives by the same things that dictate our own survival. We all need sunlight. We all need water. We all need various nutrients, minerals to survive. Everything is interconnected. There is an interbeing to this life. And I bring this forward because October is the time to celebrate ancient wisdom, what our ancestors have always known. And they knew it in a much different way than we know because they lived so much closer and with greater communion to the earth, to the cycles of the earth. Their dependence, their survival was, it had a tighter knit to what they could produce, how they could connect to the earth. We live very differently than they. In fact, many people live completely disconnected to the earth, which is why practices like forest bathing have become really popular in parts of the world. People who live in cityscapes are completely out of touch with the rhythm of nature and by extension with their own natural rhythm. What I think is really extraordinary is when you read the sutras, the teachings of the Buddha 2,600 years ago, this guy in the in the eastern lands of this globe, was so determined to understand his own mind and heart, the conditions of his own malcontent and disappointment and frustration and bliss and craving and temptation, all the things that make us spicy, prickly humans. And he was so devoted to understanding it that he dedicated his life to it. And he taught about it for 40 years. And fortunately, there were learned people who could write down these oral traditions. And so many of these original teachings, although they've been passed down through an oral tradition, have been preserved. And that's what we get to reflect on today. And my point being, the Buddha talked about interconnection. Even 2,600 years ago, he was talking about it then. He was talking about how people get out of touch, the ways people are out of touch. Come into your body, this extraordinary evolutionary thing. It carries your mind, it shelters your heart, it protects you from disease, bacteria, and so on. And it can also take abuse and neglect. And it has this self-righting ability, this self-healing ability. And it does so, as I've been saying, all week long with unwavering faith. The body is a merciful companion, all forgiving. The mind, on the other hand, while we've been conditioned to believe that the mind needs work, I would like to propose the mind needs something else. The mind would benefit from a lot more care, compassion, nurturance. And this is an effort, no doubt about it, but it can be a joyful effort, a friendly effort, rather than a laborious one, a chore. One more thing I gotta do. I gotta be nice to myself. And instead, let's just practice a little kindness together. And we'll situate ourselves by taking refuge today in the three jewels, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the community, all of us here together practicing energetically. This is profound. And if you can take a minute to contemplate just the mystery of how you got here today, how we all got here today. All of the conditions, all of the karmic ripening led us to this moment, this precious, precious moment. It's miraculous, mysterious, magnificent. May you see how you are divine mystery. Breathe that in together, friends. And as you exhale, I'd like you to bring your attention to your core, where your diaphragm is. And if you want to, you can put your hands on your core. My hands are on my belly, and my fingers are wide like number fives, but they're spread really far so I can really hold myself, my belly, and I've got my elbows tucked in. So this is a very intentional position. My shoulders are back and down. My heart is lifted. My elbows are tucked, and my hands are on my belly, nice and warm. There are organs here intimately connected to my brain, receiving signals, messages in a blink of an eye, exchanging blood and neural communications, all to keep my systems going. My stomach, my liver, spleen, gallbladder, pancreas, bile ducts, kidneys, intestines. Next week, we're going to talk about the reproductive system a little bit lower in the body. The lower quadrants of my lungs are here. They're wrapped in a cage, my rib cage. There's a casing covering these organs, protecting these organs, multiple casings, fascial casings. In my case, I have a nice layer of overeating, muscles that are soft. This is my belly. This is my core. And it keeps me healthy and going and joyful, all without my mind really having any understanding of any of it. I have no idea how all of these systems work together. And frankly, I don't want to know. I don't want to spend the time. I don't have the energy to investigate it. I just trust that it's looking out for me. And so what we're centering on today is not taking advantage of that trust, or if we have taken advantage of that trust, may this be the moment where we pay attention to that, not in a disparaging or judgmental way, but as an invitation, a friendly invitation to pay closer attention, to connect to this natural status of the body that works so tirelessly on my behalf that I don't have to pay attention. I can take it for granted, but I don't want to anymore. I don't want to abuse it. I don't want to neglect it. My core body has been my companion, and it has served me so well, and it deserves my praise, my care, my nurturance, my awareness. So just having your hands on your belly as you breathe, as a friendly presence. There you go, gallbladder. I have no idea what you do, but hooray for your presence. Spleen, clueless. Thank you for being there. Liver, I have some idea of what you do, so I'll smile at you. Stomach, oh, I know you. Thank you. Intestines, wow. Diaphragm, thank you. Muscles, layers of fat and fascia, thank you for protecting me. Lungs and rib cage. That's just the front of the body, friends. You have a back body too. The spine, those really big back muscles. The kidneys are back there. If you've ever seen a dissected nervous system, it roots and branches just like a tree, roots into the dark mystery and branches in the air element. So does your nervous system, your vascular system, your bronchial system in the lungs. Coincidence? No. Divine mystery, interconnection. Breathe, friends, breathe your wonderful bodies exactly as they are in this moment. Your faithful companion, your merciful temple, exactly as it is. Breathe. May you see that you are divine mystery. And may you see that others are divine mystery. In fact, all of life is the expression of this mystery. And you are an intimate, majestic part of it. One last breath, breathing in, breathing out. And thank you for being here. So let's go ahead and end our practice with a dedication of merit. Thich Nhat Hanh famously said, "Your life is the instrument with which you experiment with truth." Your life is the instrument with which you experiment with truth. So here's an image that I'd like to plant in your imagination. And it's an ancient image from Buddhist texts. And it's an ascending, traversing path. So just think like zigzag going up a giant mountain forever until it finally goes up into the clouds, even. And it starts at the base, sort of in human life, just the cityscape, if you will. And as you're walking along the path, what you see with your eyes is a monkey. And the monkey is holding a leash, and the leash is tethered to an elephant. So the monkey is guiding an elephant all along this path. It symbolizes two things: distraction, which is embodied in the monkey, and dullness, which is embodied in the elephant. And sort of wrapped around this is this thing called ego. Like, I should be doing this, I should be that, I should be better at this, I sit down one time and I should have it all figured out. But the path reminds us that for the rest of our lives, we're going to be tempted and encounter distraction and dullness. But as you practice, pretty soon, the distracting monkey drops the leash and it can wander and do its own thing, but it's staying true to its path. Likewise, the dullness of the elephant doesn't need the hyperactivity of the monkey to keep going. It just knows it's sheltered, it's grounded and boundaried on the path, so it keeps going until eventually nirvana. So for the rest of your life, there's this invitation to practice with distraction and dullness. And by doing so, we change slowly in sustained, beautiful ways. And we take that into the world via our presence, our joy, our encouragement, our nurturance, our smiles. And the world is blessed by your effort. Thank you so much, friends, for your beautiful practice. Thank you for experimenting with your life and using instruments of peace to bring change. The whole of you matters to the whole of me, and together we are blessed. Namaste.